You're on India Today podcasts, and you are in the sledging room. For all facts and purposes, the World Cup 2023 is well underway. Why? Because, obviously it started a few days back, but India only played their first match of the tournament on Sunday. Convincing 6-wicket win at the end against Australia, but there were a few hiccups. Of course, the spinners came into play. Heroic. Ravindra Jadeja, 3 wickets. Kuldeep Yadav getting among the wickets as usual. R. Ashwin made a last-moment entry, had an impact. Jasprit Bumrah, brilliant as ever. Siraj didn't have to do a lot, but Siraj and Hardik both ended up with 1 wicket apiece. And chasing 200 exactly, India were 3 down for nothing. Golden duck for Ishan Kishan on debut, duck for Shreyas Iyer on debut, and Rohit Sharma, who was on fire in the 2019 World Cup, also started this campaign with a duck. Virat Kohli, thanks to that missed opportunity from Mitchell Marsh, a missed catch, he survived with KL Rahul, steered India home. Both of them missed out on hundreds, you'd say. Either of them should have gotten to 100, but the more important thing was India had won. KL Rahul was the man of the match, unbeaten 97, but I'm sure that must have been a difficult call for the adjudicators because you're looking at Virat Kohli's 85, you're looking at Jadeja's 3 for 28 of 10 overs. Must have been a very difficult choice. Mitchell Marsh, a duck, and then dropping that catch. He must have been in contention somewhere. For me, Mitchell Marsh was the real man of the match. He was that dropped opportunity. India would have been 12 for 4 or 20?
18 or 20 for 4.
18 or 20 for 4. That would have really allowed Australia to put a foot in the door. But did not happen. And anyway, they're not going to regret that too much. They don't have time to, in such a fast-paced format. Australia up against South Africa next in Lucknow. Nobody knows what sort of pitch to expect there because obviously the surface has been relayed, dug up after that T20I between India and New Zealand, a low-scoring affair. So there's been a lot going on. And New Zealand, by the way, have looked very strong. Australia, not so good in the first game. South Africa have really announced themselves, right? They somehow got into the tournament, but that batting lineup is looking dangerous. That bowling lineup is looking set. New Zealand, like I said, batting and bowling, they're looking absolutely awesome. England with that batting performance against Bangladesh have reasserted themselves as a very, very dominant force. But that victory over Australia, Saurabh, that told you a lot of things about the way this team has shaped up and the way they've ticked all the boxes.
Absolutely. You saw, we must have read what Rohit Sharma said around 18 months ago, that our middle order has to be ready for situations like 10 for 3. But it happened in the first match of the World Cup. Your team was 2 for 3, and Virat Kohli and KL Rahul stepped up. What a partnership! What 2 brilliant knocks! But you have to give credit to KL Rahul because when you see Virat Kohli, he was good, absolutely he was good. But he was struggling when he came on to bat. That missed opportunity, and before that, when KL Rahul took the attack to Adam Zampa, those 2 boundaries of Adam Zampa, those 2 cut shots, they laid down the barrier for India. And then, obviously, Virat Kohli got his knock going after those 2 boundaries of Cameron Green. But it was these 2 players, the way they batted. And after the match, they came on to talk about the innings. And, KL Rahul said that he was in the shower. He wanted to take a bit of rest after keeping for 50 overs. And he had to come out. And the kind of innings he has played, absolutely brilliant. What a comeback from KL Rahul.
The kind of, the agenda that you both are peddling here. When you started the podcast, there was 2 ways of looking at it. Say that Virat Kohli literally saved the day for India. Say the truth. But you didn't. He said KL Rahul started to be aggressive. Those boundaries against Adam Zampa came only after Virat Kohli had hit Mitchell Starc. Virat Kohli had hit Cameron Green for those 2 boundaries. And you're talking about that drop catch
I'm not. I was about to jump in and say that. No, but that drop catch was important for India. First off, what agenda? Because of the criticism that...
I have not criticized Virat Kohli. No, but I am saying whatever happened. I am stating facts. I don't peddle agendas like you.
My questions on Kohli and Rahul were based on T20 cricket. We always said KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer would be integral for India in the ODI World Cup, at home especially, and that turned out to be true. Also with Virat Kohli in one-day cricket is a different force, but also at the same time, and now I know you will make a flipping U-turn because you said that off camera. You'll just flip and say, no, I didn't say that. But we all agreed to the fact that, look, that there are still question marks over how India can actually chase down a bigger total.
Yes.
330, 340. But we'll come to that because there are some issues that I think we should raise. But like we said at the start of the World Cup, now this is your team. The World Cup is about to start. Now the World Cup is well underway. That it's also important to back the team, and that's why the sledging room. When we started the sledging room, that was one of the many issues around which the podcast was really founded on. Right, that you're looking at questions that nobody else would dare ask. Obviously, once the sledging room upped the ante, a lot of people started asking the same questions that we would already do. But here are the two facts. You're right. KL Rahul took on Adam Zampa, but you're also right when you say that, look, Virat Kohli kind of broke the shackles with those boundaries of Cameron Green. But what Saurabh is also saying is also right. Virat Kohli was scratchy, and it's okay. You can be on a pitch like that. And we were talking about this entire game, right? It's difficult for a new batsman to immediately come and start scoring runs. And that's why we thought that dropped catch was very, very crucial. Imagine a Hardik Pandya coming in at that stage. Maybe Hardik and KL would have again won the game for India. Hardik, a fantastic all-rounder, but at that stage it would have been difficult, and that's why you needed Virat and KL to stay as long as they did. And I thought that was a very calculated partnership. That was a very well thought of innings from both Kohli and Rahul to take the chances and really do justice in a chase like that. But also at the same time, Akshay, you're looking at the Indian team. You're looking at I'm sure all of us had picked our top four, and now looking at the way the tournament has phased out, right? In the second round, the first round is already over. Every team has played one match each. New Zealand are looking, like I said, extremely dangerous. Even without Kane Williamson for the first two matches, Will Young scored runs in the second game. Rachin Ravindra and Devon Conway were on fire against England, the defending champions, and that bowling lineup without Tim Southee in it, right? There's no Ish Sodhi yet, so Lockie Ferguson only got in to the second game against the Netherlands. It is suddenly, everybody talks about how New Zealand are dark horses for every World Cup. They are outright favourites alongside India. And you're talking of South Africa, they've been stamped with the choker's tag for so many, many years, decades now. Even those guys are looking dangerous. Yes, the Delhi strip was flat. A lot of us were taken by surprise. We thought it would be a slowish pitch, but obviously for the World Cup, they had something else lined up. It won't be easy. And suddenly you're looking at Australia and you're thinking, England again, that killer instinct. They were in such a dominant position against Bangladesh. They should have been looking at 400. They eventually did get 365. But you're suddenly looking at two differently new teams that you wouldn't have thought would be so competitive so early in the tournament.
So, for instance, New Zealand and South Africa. You brought up New Zealand and South Africa. New Zealand are, more assertive from the start of the tournament. They are proving a point that don't call us those, underdogs anymore. And on the other hand, South Africa, chokers, the C word that is being used for them. Temba Bavuma, their captain, addressed it beautifully at the start of the tournament. He said, we can't shy away, we can't run away from this, chokers tag because of what has happened in the past. They have always looked good, but they have not been able to, get past those crucial hurdles. But Temba Bavuma said it right, saying that, we will have to live with it. We can't, throw it away. We will live with it. We'll carry that tag. We'll obviously be hearing that word throughout the tournament. But that statement that they made in Delhi, I'm asking you this question. Do you think India have made such a big statement at the start of the tournament, or what will you make of that win against Australia?
If you ask me about India's win over Australia, and if you compare that win with South Africa's win against Sri Lanka.
And New Zealand's win against England.
So New Zealand's win against England will rank top for me.
Yeah.
Because England, defending champions, you call them the re-innovators of ODI cricket, and the way they have been playing. On that day, in the first match of, even when everybody was asked, people were saying England are going to win this match, and the way New Zealand came through, you see their batting lineup. Every player is performing. You see their spin attack. They have got Rachin Ravindra. They have got Mitchell Santner, who picked up a 5-wicket haul against the other team. And then they have got Ish Sodhi, who's not playing. If you see their fast bowling attack, Trent Bolt, Tim Southee, Lockie Ferguson, they all play IPL. They all are accustomed to the playing conditions in India. And Kane Williamson is yet to return. So that team is outright favourite. Second, it has to be India's win against Australia. Okay. You are defeating Australia. What happened with South Africa? If you talk about South Africa, see, obviously they batted brilliantly. That 100 from Markram, from Quinton de Kock, Rasheed Anderson, everything was perfect. But that bowling, I mean, the likes of Kagishwar Wada, they were tongued away.
Yeah.
Had Sri Lanka got off to a good start, they might have gone on to win that match also. You never know on that kind of a strip. So South Africa's bowling needs to step up.
But I have a slightly different take. I mean, India's win, I thought, was as convincing. I mean, those three ducks are not going to happen every day. Ishan Kishan played a horrible shot. And most of his success over the last several months has come in the middle order. Obviously, you take that 210 against Bangladesh, or 3 half centuries against the West Indies. They were in the opening position, but he scored some runs in the middle order as well. Shreyas Iyer, soft dismissal, maybe nerves, first World Cup match. Rohit Sharma got a real jammer from Josh Hazelwood. You got to discount that. You're not going to, hopefully. And Rohit is too good a player to miss out on too many opportunities in the World Cup. Virat Kohli looks scratchy. He doesn't look as underwhelming as he did in Chennai at the start of his innings. He's obviously a little more watchful than a few of the other India cricketers who are a lot more bashful when they're going on. I think the big blow will be the absence of Shubman Gill for a few games.
Yes.
He was hospitalized with dengue in Chennai on Tuesday morning. He was released thereafter after receiving treatment. But the tricky part is, do India now go for a replacement? Because the moment you do that, that means you're ruling Shubman Gill out of the World Cup. And he's obviously been the best ODI batter in 2023. Ishan Kishan is capable of doing the job up the top. But again, this is like nitpicking, and this is something that struck me when India were bowling against Australia. The use of Hardik Pandya. I think, look, Hardik Pandya is an exceptionally good all-rounder. You have to say that he's among the best in the shorter formats. But did you really need to use Hardik Pandya at that point? Bumrah and Gill had bowled 3 outstanding overs each. After 6 overs, Australia were in a bit of bother. Warner and Smith were trying to get going. Hardik Pandya comes in and gives away 21 runs of 2 overs. That was not the kind of pitch for Hardik Pandya to bowl on. Just because you have 6 bowling options doesn't mean you have to try them out all the time. Hardik Pandya is an ace all-rounder, right? But I don't think that Chennai pitch was for him. Bumrah and Siraj with their extra pace will be dangerous on any surface. And then you have 3 world-class bowlers. They bowled such amazing test match lengths and they got the rewards. The job was already done. I mean, you could have had Ashwin starting 1 over earlier than he did. Eventually came on the 8th over. He could have started the 7th over. You could have bowled with a couple of spinners in tandem to get Australia in a bit of a spot as well. So look, that partnership blossomed because of those 2 overs from Hardik Pandya. That Smith won a partnership blossom. I think another 30-40 runs. It could have been a little demanding for India. Also for me, that miscalculation or whatever it was towards the end, because I initially thought because Hardik had bowled 2 overs up front, Siraj would bowl 3 more and finish with 8 overs if India looked to get to 50 overs. So after the 45th over, Siraj still had a few overs left, and I thought it would be 1 over each from Ashwin and Bumrah, and 3 more overs from Mohammad Siraj. I think that's where I got a little confused as well. Why go to Hardik Pandya when he already had a bad start with the ball? The first match of the World Cup. Do you need to use your extra bowler in every game? Is my point. In Chennai, you could have probably done with 5 bowlers and made a bigger point.
But you're forgetting one thing, Raj. I think he's the vice captain of the team.
Yes.
And, he commands that much. And I wouldn't, like you said, it's nitpicking.
It is nitpicking, if you have to pick up an issue. But like for me, it ranks with New Zealand's victory over England. It was that convincing. But if you had to pick up issues, maybe 2 or 3 there.
You know what? Why I'm not rating this win over Australia over that England, or ranking it along with, because Australia were 140 for 7. You let them run through and reach 199.
Yeah.
That should not happen. I mean, if you are going to be the top team, you should go for the kill every time you have that opportunity. Your bowlers, your captain has to make those changes. Your bowlers have to step up. They were brilliant, no doubt about that. I'm not questioning their intent and everything, but you have to go for the kill. Teams like Australia in the past, they used to go for kill. If you are going, like you see that 2015 World Cup final against New Zealand, that group game against India in 2003, you see how.
No, but I think they did go for the kill. I mean, that's where that's where I'm going to play the devil's advocate with what I thought would be the last 5 overs, because I think because they went for the kill, they also bowled Rohit also bowled Ashwin and Bumrah out early. Look, with a team like Australia, you have to look at the lower order as well. Pat Cummins, Mitchell Starc, they're very, very good lower order cricket batsmen, right? So I think that those 15 runs from Pat Cummins or whatever he scored, that obviously would have made a big difference. I mean, if you're bowling against Pakistan, for instance, I think you would have been able to roll them out much earlier. But you look at a team like Australia and England and definitely New Zealand, you're going to have to be a little more cautious because they have those lower order batters to make that. I mean, that's why a team like Australia is always dangerous because you know that lower down the order, they have those guys to give you that push for 15, 20 runs.
Yeah.
And that could sometimes end up making a difference.
But you know what? Overall, I think Australia look a little, they don't look like a team that can run into the top 4. They might scrape through there. But look at that. Travis Head not playing. Mitchell Marsh, yes, he had odd failure. But in even those first 2 ODIs against India, he didn't get going. So there are certain things that worries them. One spinner, I can't understand that logic.
Nathan Lyon is ready, bro.
Nathan Lyon is ready. You're coming to India. You know the pitches are going to be dry. A few pitches are going to be dry and they're going to assist spin. It's not like in a round robin format like this, you don't have to win all 9 matches. Yeah. You target those main teams. If you're Australia, what are you looking at? Beat India, beat England, beat New Zealand, beat South Africa, and you are almost done. So to do that, you must equip your team. You must find the right balance. Their middle order is also after Labuschagne. They don't know who will bat where. Cam Green is still not looking the all-rounder that they hoped for. Marcus Stoinis is injured. Once he comes back, that complexion might change. But with Adam Zampa as their only spinner,
but again, it's not it's easy for every team to get that kind of balance right. Yeah. Look, you're talking of an Indian team, say from 2011 onward. Obviously, they had the best team suited for these conditions. 2015, I thought they were outstanding before the defeat to Australia. Even in 2019, their bowling lineup was pretty packed. They had a good bowling lineup. Yes, the batting lineup was all over the place because of the mistakes they made with the number 4 and getting Kedar Jadhav in, suddenly getting Dinesh Karthikeyan as a specialist batsman for the semi-final. But I think that's where India have also been able to make a mark over the last 3 World Cups. One in 2011, semi-finals in the 2015 and 2019 World Cups. And even now, at home, they have 3 world-class spinners, they have 3 world-class spacers. So on a pitch where they think you don't need an extra spinner, you have Mohammad Shami. You have someone like Mohammad Shami sitting on the bench. Tell me about any team which would not want to have Mohammad Shami playing for that 11. But in the Indian team, he can't really get in a first choice 11. So I think that sort of balance, it's a little difficult to find. By the way, even South Africa don't have that kind of balance. You're looking at Keshav Maharaj, you're looking at Tabraiz Shamsi, but you compare that spin lineup to India, you're not getting anywhere. Pakistan don't have that balance at all. They have 2 world-class bowlers. Yeah. Hassan Ali comes out of nowhere and he's suddenly in that 11. Sri Lanka, they have been marred by injuries. But that's where I think that India, for me, on the evidence of the first round, despite an early hiccup with the bat, they are still frontliners for me.
Absolutely. India and New Zealand, 2 teams. They have been brilliant in this first round. We'll have to see how they play against Afghanistan. I'm going to ask a question from both of you. So Virat Kohli is going to play his first World Cup match in New Delhi.
Yeah.
Do you expect a century from him? So he missed out on a century.
I hope it's that kind of a pitch where South Africa played Sri Lanka, right? High scoring, 700 runs. But we also thought that would be a lot of spin involved in Delhi. Maybe it's the same strip. Maybe they have relayed surfaces to aid run scoring. I think you'll expect some fireworks from Virat Kohli because he is going to be one of your main guys getting you into the semi-finals. Shubman Gill will be heavily missed.
Yes.
At least for a couple more games, I think, right?
I really hope Virat Kohli gets in, and I hope Shubman Gill comes back to this side very, very quickly.
What do you make of that KL Rahul reaction? Was it, a lot of people criticized him for doing that because after winning the match, you react like that.
That reaction reminded me of that 199 when he got out. India were obviously still so far ahead of the game. But getting out of 199. I think that also KL thought of was, I think he wanted to hit a 4 and then complete with a 6. Because they needed, 5 runs or 6 runs to win at that stage?
5 runs were needed, right?
Yeah. So I think he wanted to hit a 4 and a 6. Yes. And which is fair enough, right? I mean, it's okay. You've done the job.
Absolutely.
I felt a little bad for him. Initially, I thought that was odd, but I felt a little bad.
I don't understand this criticism. When you will criticize KL for if he is scoring and you're criticizing him.
Yeah, come on.
Come on, stop this. Guy got you over the line, scored that 97 unbeaten runs against Australia in a World Cup match. Give him some credit.
In fact, had he scored 10 more runs a little more quickly, that would have also helped India's net run rate.
Yes.
There was a very fine tweet which said, had KL hit a 4 and then hit a 6, India's
from one of the
net run
stations,
rate, India's net run rate would have increased with those extra runs. But you have to give credit to that guy.
Yeah.
Questions were asked about his place.
200%.
But, the way he has come back, and in that heat, we were talking about Siraj and Bumrah bowling only 3 overs in the first spell. So it was hot. There were a lot of.
You're a Chennai boy. Tell us, how bad does it get there? And it rained for a couple of days leading into the match.
And you know what?
Was
humidity
beyond.
Yes, that is the problem.
Yeah.
If it doesn't rain for a longer period in Chennai, the humidity is unimaginable there. And Siraj and Bumrah bowled only 3 overs, but this guy kept for 50 overs, went to his shower.
He wanted to put his feet up.
Was knocked. Maybe he was.
And then batted for like 39 overs.
39 overs.
So he was not on the pitch only for 2 hours, I think.
2 overs.
The whole match.
Yes.
So give him some credit.
Definitely, he deserves credit for the way he has come back after that injury concern. Plenty was asked, but we were always mixing formats. As in a lot of us, like he was a good ODI player.
Not us in the sledging room. We kept questions on the T20 format. Obviously, with Test cricket also, he's done his bit. But now with Shubman Gill making an entry into the Test team alongside Rohit Sharma, that boat has sailed as well.
Against Pakistan in the Asia Cup 100, against Sri Lanka 100.
But what do you make of Yuvraj Singh's tweet
Australia?
Though? Because there's another guy coming back from injury, Shreyas Iyer. He scored runs against Australia. He scored that brilliant 100. Him and Shubman Gill against Australia in the second ODI. And Yuvraj Singh was not quite happy with the way Shreyas Iyer got out. He said he needs better thinking at number 4. And he said, I can't for the life of me understand why Rahul is not batting at number 4. At 4, Shreyas at 5.
If you look at the stats, when Shreyas Iyer was not injured, he used to bat at number 4 and he was our best ODI batter.
Yes.
And KL at number 5 gives you that stability. He's a very good player of spin. He knows if he comes at in a stage where he has to accelerate, he knows how to put the foot on the pedal. So, I mean, whatever Yuvraj Singh, with all due respect to him, he's a legend. But if you ask me, it is nice. I mean, Shreyas Iyer is a very good batter at number 4. And that one shot, I mean, it was not just Shreyas Iyer. Ishan Kishan also played a similar kind of rash shot and got out. So you can't criticize a man just for one shot.
It's a little out of the box, but we do out of the box on the sledging. That's why we're here. I know Rahul has had an outstanding phase batting in the middle order, but with Shubman Gill out for hopefully not more than 2 matches from here on, right? You fancy Rahul coming up to open with Rohit and Ishan Kishan slotting back into the middle order? Because look at Ishan Kishan's record. You'd be a little weary. I mean, you think that, look, he's got runs as an opener as well, and you don't want to disturb that middle order now. It's just
I wouldn't.
It also gives you left-right combination up top.
But I wouldn't want to touch this. KL at number 5, he kind of seems very home there.
There's a sense of assurance.
Yeah. Maybe get Virat up top, Virat and Rohit open.
There was talk about Virat Kohli batting down at number 4. That's not happened.
In T20 as Virat open.
पागलपन नहीं करते हैं. That's that.
Or maybe get Ashwin to open, ask him to go after the.
I'm glad you're as far from the Indian team as you're currently. I mean, they're in the same city, but we're not letting Akshay anywhere near that Indian team if he thinks that is a suggestion. But India versus Pakistan again. I mean, you've seen Pakistan. They struggled against the Netherlands. In fact, Scott Edwards went on to say, the Netherlands captain said, "Look, that was a missed opportunity. That was one that got away."
Absolutely, it was a missed opportunity.
Look at that confidence from the Netherlands and Pakistan. Wow, what's going on with
and
them?
look at the way Sri Lanka have dominated that Pakistan bowling.
Yeah.
Like we know, before the World Cup, before the Asia Cup, we spoke so highly of Pakistan's bowling attack. Yeah, I understand Naseem Shah. In fact, their best bowler is out injured. But you still have a Shaheen Shah Afridi. You still have a Haris Rauf. It's not like you have turned up for the World Cup and you have to be tuned in. It's not like, the first few matches of the world. No. When it's the World Cup, you have to be tuned in. And the way they conceded those runs against Sri Lanka, it didn't look like Pakistan are going to go anywhere near top 4 this time.
I mean, you're talking about Naseem Shah. Wasn't Naseem Shah playing in that match when Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma took the attack, their bowlers, and then Virat and KL scored 100. Each scored 100. So this Pakistani bowled so much of hype. And when you come to the performance, it's nowhere to be seen. Haris Rauf, pace hai. What is pace? You don't have a line and length. You're being tongued away. But Kusal Mendes took attack to Hassan Ali. You talk about every bowler. Shaheen Afridi, he has looked pretty ordinary.
In fact, Hassan Ali, who was the last minute replacement, who hadn't played enough ODIs for the last 3-4 years, looks like their best pace bowler in this bowling lineup now. Because Shaheen Afridi, he's looking for that early swing at the start of his spell, and he's getting tonked. Today he was literally taken apart by Kusal Mendes.
I think Pakistan are devoid of skills. That's number one. I think there's also a lot going in the dressing room. We've said that on the sledging room before. But there is obviously been some words in the media about differences between Babar Azam and Shaheen Shah Afridi. Who knows how true they are or whether they're true? It doesn't seem like a very cohesive unit at the moment. The way they're on the body language on the field, Baba's body language on the field, Baba's captaincy has been very ordinary. I mean, that game against Sri Lanka, right, where Kushal Mendes started taking the attack to the Pakistani bowlers, and Baba's shoulders drooped immediately. This field setup was all over the place. You don't have enough cover for Shaheen Shah Afridi, who's spreading it all over, and then you're looking at the TV screens and wondering, look, you can't place a field for that kind of bowling. Shaheen Afridi has been really, really bad. He's been really, in fact, even as we record this podcast, Sri Lanka, of course, still going strong against Pakistan. It's thanks to 100 from Kusal Mendes, the fastest 100, by the way, by a Sri Lankan batter in ODI World Cups. He broke Kumar Sangakkara's record on Tuesday, but there are question marks, and that's why I think that India are overwhelming favourites. India, by the way, Pakistan have the same record against Sri Lanka that India have against Pakistan in ODI World Cups. But Sri Lanka also defeated Pakistan in the Asia Cup recently, so they have that advantage, the linear advantage. And I don't think you're going to see a Pakistan victory in front of 130,000 people in Ahmedabad with the kind of form this Indian team is in, and the complete lack of confidence for Pakistan. They would be more scarred with that victory over the Netherlands. It was very touch and go, the way Netherlands bowled and the way they started that chase. Obviously, you knew that Netherlands wouldn't have that killer instinct to close the game, but you just wonder what's going on with this Pakistan team. PCB more worried about not some of the fans and journalists not getting visa. PCB should have been more worried about getting a good team on the park. That should have been their agenda. To get a good team on the park. Look at Indian cricket, the way we have flourished and the way cricket has flourished. There, even in this 15, there is a virtual backer for everyone.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, you can't have a backer for every player. That would mean 22 players. But I'm just saying that even if touchwood there is an injury, you have look at Akshar Patel. He was a last-minute injury, right? You have R. Ashwin. Hardik Pandya doesn't play a game for some reason. You have Shardul Thakur. You have someone like Surya Kumar Yadav sitting the bench. We already talked about Shami sitting on the benches. So
it's not like Pakistan don't have the fast bowling resources. I don't know why they picked Hassan Ali ahead of some other players, Shahnawaz Dahani.
Yeah.
They had talent, but yes, as in they're not looking right at the moment. Maybe that you said 130,000 people not finding a single Pakistan fan might spur them up. If it spurs them up,
it's not about emotions. I don't think Pakistan are good enough to beat India.
Yeah.
I don't think they're good enough to reach the semis.
Yeah, they don't have the batting, they don't have the bowling, they don't have the fielding.
Yes.
I mean,
And the captain just looks disinterested.
The captain is absolutely abysmal. He does not know what to do when his bowler is getting hit for boundaries. You see his field sitting, and you understand that this man is not good enough to captain a national team.
Yeah. And it's not like, Pakistan hai, that's why we have to be critical. No, Pakistan have produced some wonderful cricket teams. They've produced some wonderful cricketers.
You said earlier, when they were mercurial, when they were,
Yeah.
They had the
you could
team.
call them mercurial. They were inconsistent sometimes.
Exactly.
But they were mercurial. But this team, at least there's a change.
Yeah. Especially their spin bowling department and pace bowling to an extent.
But at least they're consistent.
Yes.
They're consistently bad. I mean, we kept talking about how overhyped this Pakistan team was with the number one ranking and everything. Look at the kind of teams you defeated. You haven't played the top tier teams for far too many months, and then you were at the Asia Cup and you were completely exposed. India. Yeah. You up against India, you have to be better prepared. You can't go on and say, ye hara denge, huh?
To the players' credit, even when the PCB chief made that, unwanted remark at the start of the tournament.
That was a crazy remark.
Yeah. The players have maintained that, everything has been going well, and they spoke about the hospitality that they had in Hyderabad. Even about this, the latest controversy, the PCB has released an official statement expressing their displeasure.
Yeah.
Why would you want to do that when your team is playing World Cup, especially in conditions that are not familiar?
No, but that's the problem with the Pakistan Cricket Board. They are so politically aligned with everything that's going on in Pakistan. They're getting into far more difficult waters. Your job is to essentially ensure a good cricket ecosystem, which will result in a good cricket team. Look at the BCCI that way. You have a strong IPL foundation, you have a very strong domestic cricket structure, you have superb tours of India A, and look at the kind of players you've laid out on the field. That's what your role should be, and to make money for the board. That is exactly why you're there.
Pakistan Cricket Board, as we have all seen in the past 6 months, is more about the politics of Pakistan than cricket of Pakistan. If you see the way they change their PCB chiefs, I mean, absolutely hilarious. no management, and they are not worried about their cricket team. Sorry to say, they are worried about off-field issues which they are themselves creating.
It's a little sad. You would have wanted.
You know,
There's no
you-
West Indies.
Yeah, the India-Pakistan clashes should light up the tournament. But
again,
sadly, it might not
It
this
is
time,
not.
right?
Look, it is going to be interesting because every Indian wants India to win against Pakistan, especially. Obviously, we Indian fans would want our team to do well and win the World Cup, win everything on the way to the final. But again, there used to be a sense of anticipation. But from the 2015 World Cup onward, I mean, you could just tell that, look, India is so far ahead of Pakistan. Yes, you lost the 2017 Champions Trophy final because there were some holes in the Indian team as well. I mean, that no ball from Bumrah. Bumrah wasn't this Bumrah back then. He was obviously
Exactly.
talented.
6 years
far.
ago.
Tucker had one freak day.
He had a freak day, and then you had an aging MS Dhoni. You had Yuvraj Singh, who was at the end of his powers 6 years after that iconic World Cup win. So that was a different team. That was a team in transition, right? You had two legends who had done everything, who had spent their forces and their power, given everything for Indian cricket at that point. And now look at this lineup. There is no way you're going to see Pakistan competing with this Indian team.
India-Pakistan game does not excite me that much. I am more excited to see how India will play against New Zealand.
Yeah.
How India will play against England.
Yeah.
So I am waiting for those two matches, not waiting to India-Pakistan match.
And for me, you know what? I know, again, a lot of our viewers who see us, I mean, we have some international viewers as well. They'll say, oh, this is biased. But I'm telling you, I'd be very surprised if India don't make it to the final.
Yeah,
Because
India-
of the kind of balance you have. I think, like you said, only New Zealand matched that, and South Africa with that power hitting lineup. I think South Africa have the most aggressive batting lineup
Yes,
in
yes.
the tournament.
I agree that whatever both of you are saying, that the quality of the current Pakistan cricket team is not that great, but I'd still take an India versus Pakistan final if somehow
That's not going to
somehow
happen.
it
That's not
happens.
going to happen. And
Pakistan
I
if
don't
somehow
want
it
that.
Pakistan
I
do
don't
not
want
have
that.
the team to reach semi-final. You're
Yeah.
talking about final.
And I also don't want an India-Pakistan final because I don't want it to be a one-sided final where India
Exactly.
just storming. That Sri Lanka final, for instance, that was
Yeah.
proper final. You could see the
The way,
tension.
for me personally, I don't know about you both. I want to see India play New Zealand in the final and beat them.
Okay.
I want to see that, to be very frank.
I want an India-Australia final. I mean,
Oh,
we-
that
we-
would be
we're talking of
20
we're
years
talking
ago.
of nations, yeah.
India, Pakistan
Yeah.
any day, Pakistan losing their first 3 matches. No, for losing. not
Akshay,
for-
come on now.
Winning their first one and losing the next 2, and then having a great run to the final.
Who?
Pakistan. As in, I hope that happens. Let's see.
Yeah, hoping against hope. That's not going to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
But I think in one of our next shows we should also get somebody from the team who's such an ardent Bangladesh supporter.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to see the connection he has with the Bangladesh cricket team.
Yes.
And I think you should get him on one of your shows and see the outpouring of reaction. Maybe the day after
India-Bangladesh game.
India play Bangladesh. I was about to say the day after India beat Bangladesh, but I don't want to sound so arrogant and overconfident. But yeah, the day after India beat Bangladesh. So we'll see that. That's very interesting. You'll have a lot of interesting thoughts from him on why Bangladesh to him is such a good team. But quickly, assertively, which has been the most impressive team? I know you've spoken of the most impressive victories, but which has been the most interesting team in terms of balance? Don't say India because we all knew that India was.
Yeah.
So the toss-up is clearly between South Africa and New Zealand.
New Zealand at this moment.
Absolute New Zealand. You see, they don't have Kane Williamson, Tim Southee, Ish Roddy, and still they are on top of the table. 2 back-to-back wins. So it has to be them.
But I'm actually genuinely scared of South Africa because they have someone called Tabraiz Shamsi sitting in the benches. I don't know where he might get a game
Yes.
because you will have to probably see Jel Kidzi sitting out and Tabraiz Shamsi coming in at some point. That could happen. Even without Magala and Henrik Nokia, they have such a formidable pace lineup. You have Kagiso Rabada, who is so good. And you have David Miller coming in at number 6. That has to be, for me, the most dangerous top 6.
Janssen at
And
7.
Marco Janssen at number 7. And Marco Janssen with his height and with his bounce. I mean, look at the bounce he extracted even on that flat Delhi pitch, right? He troubled Sri Lanka early on with a couple of those blows. So you would be very, very nervous against that South African batting lineup. And, I know they've been called chokers and they've been called whatnot, but maybe they've wilted under pressure of expectations. But this South African batting lineup, yes, okay, they had AB de Villiers and Faf du Plessis in that lineup 8 years back. But this lineup, there's something about it, right? The guys coming down that lower order.
You have Klaasen. arguably the best ODI batter at the
Oh.
moment.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 5. Number
And you
6.
followed by David
David
Miller.
Miller.
And
David Miller, Marco Jansen. I mean,
and Quinton de Kock. And
Keshav-
Temba Babuma himself is in good form. Didn't get
Yes.
runs in Delhi,
Yes.
unfortunately. But Aiden Markram at number 4. Rassi Vanderdersen at number 3. That is like a dangerous batting lineup. Seriously dangerous batting lineup. And these guys are playing with nothing to lose because
Yeah.
1 year back, we were all talking about whether South Africa would make it to the World Cup, right?
They just abandoned the ODI series against Australia, for a T20 league.
Yeah. But that was...
Yeah, as in fit the
Yeah.
schedule, but yeah.
Yeah, but... and here they are. You know, we're talking about South Africa as one of the prospective semi-finalists, and who knows if they can keep their cool.
Okay, after the first week, has your top 4 changed?
not for me.
Maybe not yet. Maybe not yet. But it could.
Yeah, obviously it could.
I mean, obviously, common sense would
The World Cup has just started.
dictate a lot of factors.
Every team has played, I think, 1 or 2 matches. So let's.
And look at the way Sri Lanka has started against Pakistan. It's just, again, like we're recording the podcast, even as Sri Lanka batting against Pakistan in the first innings of that match. But I think that bowling lineup, the Pakistan bowling lineup is going to be found out throughout the tournament. And I think they will have a very tough time against India and Ahmedabad on the 14th of October. They will have a very tough time. 130,000 people cheering for India. Shuman Gill, unfortunately, will miss that game. He loves batting in Ahmedabad. He's done some superb work at the Narendra Modi Stadium. But
I think if he had played that match, he would have joined the select list of people to score World Cup hundreds against Pakistan.
Yes.
You
I mean, we all were expecting something like that.
yeah.
But sadly, it's not.
Anyway,
gonna
but we hope Shubman Gill recovers quickly.
Yes.
The good thing is he was discharged from a hospital in Chennai after receiving some treatment, and hopefully he will be back sooner rather than later. Hopefully for the game against Bangladesh. If not, you're probably looking at the game against England a couple of days after that. But that's all that we have on the Sledging Room this Wednesday. There's another one lined up for you on Friday, right after the India-Afghanistan game, of course. There's plenty happening in the World Cup. Stay tuned. Like we said, New Zealand are looking dangerous. South Africa's batting lineup is explosive. They next take on Australia in Lucknow on a pitch where nobody knows what's going to happen, but spin might still play some sort of role. And if it does, Australia will have a lot of groundwork to cover because South Africa might just throw up Shamsi and Keshav Maharaj at them.
Absolutely.
And Aiden Markram can roll his arm over as well. So you'll have to see. That's going to be very, very interesting. Thank you so much for joining us. It's going to be, like I said, an action-packed week, but we got you covered on the Sledging Room. Do keep watching us and do leave your comments, rate us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. And of course, you're watching us on YouTube. Do leave your comments and share, subscribe, and spread the word. The Sledging Room is going big. Thank you. You are on India Today Podcasts, and you are in the Sledging Room.